And welcome to another edition of XFeed today. Well, it's Monday, and I felt like last week we were super excited and had a ton of stories to go over. Of course, we always have a ton of stories to go over, but it didn't feel like the same kind of pizzazz that we had. If you look at the fear and greed index for crypto, it's at 36, swinging all the way down to the fear side. I don't really know what exactly to expect, but the fact that over the weekend we did have kind of a downturn and it felt like nobody cared. Nobody really said anything. And going into this week, everybody's eyes are on the US, what's happening with the Fed meeting, yada, 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 yada. Someone once said, take a drink every time I say yada, 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 yada. And now I'm going to try to avoid saying yada, 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 yada. But what's going on, Mr. M. Tolly? Good to see you. Welcome on in. Hope your Monday is well. And potentially didn't get into this. Yo, and marketing. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Base DeFi project disappears after rug pull. So I feel, maybe I've been like secluded from any kind of bad happenings in that way, as I've, not ventured too far as of late in the wide world of Web3. But we haven't really seen these type of headlines. I don't think, right? We hear these things of, formally, but anybody getting into the space right now, I feel everybody's hypercritical of the do your own research. Everybody's way more vigilant. I mean, we're seeing threads about different protocols that are out right now of people claiming this person, that person is a scam artist, et cetera, et cetera. It's very interesting. But anyway, just scrolling through right quick. Base Bros Fi, a yield optimization decentralized finance protocol on Base blockchain, disappeared from the internet after stealing its users' investments through an unaudited smart contract. Well, that's tough, but not a great way to start off on the Monday. What else do we have in here? Are there too many blockchains for gaming? Sui's randomness feature, Web3 gamer. And so this has Sebastian Bourget, the co-founder of the Sandbox. If you guys have played the game, you've probably heard about it. Might have had land for it at one point. Very curious everybody's kind of thoughts on that in general. But quickly reading off of this, there's some thoughts with it. According to Sebastian Bourget, co-founder of the Sandbox and president of the Blockchain Game Alliance, which several different major Web3 games are a part of, but I feel like it's not really talked about that much. Maybe we should look into it a little bit more and cover that later. The vast number of blockchain means that users are spread out across many different networks with no single one boasting a large user base, which, okay, yeah. I mean, right, that makes sense, but at the same time, like, why does it matter? If you go and you play Overwatch, if you go and you play League of Legends, if you go and play Call of Duty, is your intention of exiting Call of Duty to be able to use whatever like camos and skins you have in that game in another one? No. Like, the fact they're on different platforms, who cares? Like, certain games, if they have the interoperability where, for Fortnite, Warzone, I mean, I think Call of Duty as a whole right now also has that interoperability in the cross-platform play, but like, why does it matter on another scale? And so, like, just reading off that like initial point, I'm like, okay, these conversations are all like kind of interesting, but at the same time, it's like, why? I mean, we're just saying things like, okay, people are fragmented, but they're going to play a certain game that they like. Most people have one or two games that they like. The ones that I mentioned, you might never have played those. You might be like, damn, we actually have somewhat of a similar interest in games, even though I don't play Overwatch 2 at all, even though, I really liked Overwatch 1, and then they killed it. Come on, Blizzard. But the point being, as we talk about this interoperability, all these other things, and like, it feels cool, but like, is there actually a purpose with it? Now, another thing on the Web3 music front, remember when people were talking about NFTs removing the middlemen? Music's going to have a huge benefit for that. This might be one of those indicators that is starting to get more attention. Web3 music streaming platform Tune.fm raises $50 million in funding. Now, apparently, they've gotten some money before, but it's powered by a Jam token. And so if you've never looked up Jam, I haven't. The market cap is 838 mil. Just looking at, listen, a lot of tokens don't look too great when you go on the all-time frame, you know what I mean? But it's interesting that they were able to raise that much money. I mean, I don't know how much you put in like the community sentiment. It's 74% bullish to 26% bearish. I think the whole crypto market, again, as we mentioned off the top, everything's in fear. But yeah, I mean, just holy smokes, we are seeing some big funds coming in to help support people that are building in the space, even if your friends and people that you talk about saying, hey, look at this token, and they're like, That looks horrible. Well, things are happening across the board. So Magic Eden, this was an article from Decrypt, and we'll get into one from Forbes. Seeing a lot of articles all the time here. And it's about Magic Eden having its best year yet. And I think, in terms of awareness, in terms of you probably haven't gone to use Magic Eden if you previously hadn't done anything with Solana, just the notoriety, I would agree. I think Magic Eden by far has had one of the better years for awareness and everything around there. But as of last month, NFT trading volumes had shrunk to $373 million, representing a 91% drop from when Eden arrived to the NFT market. Still, Lou said that Magic Eden has achieved a 70% share of revenue within the NFT market, partly by having a presence on multiple chains. So 74% share of revenue is kind of nuts. And earlier I saw this post from Blocks where I saw a couple of people actually talking about OpenSea and their fees and whatnot. And you can see, and this was on the 15th, so yesterday, where in the past 24 hours they made like $414. So OpenSea, the giant of giants within the NFT space and the marketplace, everybody used before, made $400 off of the platform yesterday. But their all-time fees, $2.783 billion. Now, just saying, when we talk about the royalties, the impact and the slowdown that everybody kind of sensed from these collections when they did have that recurring income because there was something to be able to support them, there had to be a complete pivot across everything. So when you go to any single collection out there and they talk about pivoting, they have basically the exact same story frame around there. How impactful was royalties to that? Something to dissect a little bit and have a reflection on. So Forbes making a post about one of the Made by Apes brands board of directors turns NFT iconography. What the hell is iconography into global fashion retail? So this article came out from Forbes, and I thought, okay, let's go check out the site of just kind of what these look like. This is kind of like the knockoff of like the Friends logo, I believe, but this time it's board, some other different styles and things for it. We don't have the $500 sunglasses that we previously saw with the Bape X BAYC collab. We'll highlight somebody who went shopping on that, and the price tag is oh baby. So either way, still really cool that people are trying to build off some of the different IPs within the NFT space. Now, Blockworks put this one out, maybe a little bit of a FUD article to be totally honest, but major exchange listings may not be so bullish after all. And for anybody that forgets, have you ever had your token listed on Binance and Coinbase at the same time, and there's just a green god candle? Holy smokes. The only time that's ever happened to me was back when ApeCoin dropped. They launched, I think, on Coinbase in the morning and then Binance later, or vice versa. And it was absolutely crazy, and it really did kind of just completely shoot up there. So when you're going through some of the stats here, about 80% rose more than 10% at some point since their announcement. So again, there was some bullishness. Nearly half surged by more than 50%. Okay, that's a lot. And almost 30% more than doubled. So you're like, okay, well, that sounds pretty good. But then there's another graph here, which I'll try to highlight a little bit better. So 71% of new Coinbase and Binance listings have since lost value. So it comes out, there's all the excitement, the marketing around it, and then for basically everything, I think there was about 2 that they said had positive reactions, but also they mentioned that recently today, Baby Doge and Turbo, when marketing, thought you had a little bit of Turbo. Not sure if it's still there, but hell yeah. And Nero, they just got listed today, so they're the only purple dots on this, but insane when you look at, okay, this is where they went after they were supported by the exchanges, and then it's pretty much down only, and that's just a crazy graph. Now, tomorrow, if you're wanting to learn a little bit of something new, I do a real-world asset spaces as well as podcast called RWA Segments, but tomorrow we are doing a live spaces at 10 a.m. if you guys are wanting to check out the X profile. We did retweet that one, but we're having Metacast on to find out about real-world assets, people taking things from the traditional world and tokenizing them, and a lot of them are trying to do things straight from the suppliers and creators of these different assets, and it's really, really cool to hear behind the scenes how things are actually tokenized, etc. And that goes for about 45 minutes to an hour, and that's at 10 a.m. tomorrow. And if you're watching this way later and you missed it, we'll just check out the profile and I'll have it retweeted. I sold Turbo at the heartbreaking loss, which was dumb, but it's okay. When Root moons, we will be rich. Hell yeah. Okay, Doodles with another really sick collab here with Rubix Official. This is like Rubik's Cube, right? 50 years. Welcome to the official home of the original Rubik's Cube. Now think about this for a second. How does the Rubik's Cube official account only have 28,000 followers? How is this not a global brand that everyone in the world knows? But a pastel and hollow limited edition cube is Rubik's inspired digital wearables, one of one diamond cube by Elliot Elionat, which sounds like Elliot Moose from like that kids TV show. If you're Canadian, you know what I'm talking about. If not, just pretend that didn't happen. But coming up on the 17th, so this is tomorrow. I'm guessing this is all digital, or part of it is going to be physical, because I mean it says digital wearables, but then it doesn't say this is digital. So Doodles launching Rubik's cubes. I don't know. I think it's cool. They're doing a lot, and awesome to see that there is that immediate touching point after the release of the premiere for Dullsville and the Doodleverse. And if you missed the live stream on Friday, we did play that at the end of the episode, and it was really interesting to see. And then we looked at some of the crazy prices Doodles have gone for, and we're kind of comparing and contrasting of, hey, you know, now that we've seen the show, would you go out and buy a certain character because you know what they're representing, or you know, you want to kind of showcase, hey, I'm a super fan. It's really cool. The Rubik's thing is WL. I want to get a Rubik's cube. It's been forever. Well, listen, now is your chance. Joseph, who's one of the massive individuals in terms of the people that are playing within Web3 games, if you know what I mean. So from heavy metal, absolute whale on that. Rooneyverse, massive whale on that. Running gaming teams, really cool to talk to. Briefly messaged a few times here and there back during the heavy metal days, and they had to say renting digital gaming assets is one of the most profitable things you can do as an investor. Either for a fixed price or as a scholarship, this is the future of Web3 gaming. So there are, when we talk about scholarships, think of this kind of like people are out there, they have the internet connection, they want to play these different games because in some places you can end up earning a decent bit. And it's not, you know, there's this notion of like it's only for like third world countries and all this other stuff. But I think depending on like what the crypto market does, again, when you looked at heavy metal, people were making like $1,000 US a day off of votes. Now, obviously you had to have like sizable holdings for that, but there was people that were really competing over things. And we have all these notions of guilds, right? Remember back when CyberKong's had on their site and was one of the big aspects of, we're buying Ember Sword land in pieces, we're buying Guild of Guardians assets, we're buying big pieces in the Sandbox, and people started forming around that aspect. Guild of Guardians, there's the Kratos Guild. I don't know if JVB's around, but I'll have him on sometime hopefully to chit chat about that. And a lot of these guilds, I mean, I feel like they're pretty secluded into like whatever they're focusing on right now, and I don't even know if any got that weren't like natively already kind of within the ecosystem. I don't know how many people jumped in and was a part of that. And so for all these games, all these different launches, what are we going to see for guilds? Are we going to see DAOs making a comeback? I felt that there was a huge uptick of DAOs that were out there buying different Web3 gaming assets. And then it stopped. It just stopped for whatever reason. And that could come back at any time. So Raoul put out this article on X, and it's pretty interesting. He's one of my more enjoyable individuals to listen to, just because I think he has a very interesting take on certain things that I'm not very well educated in. And so this is a quick little piece regarding AI. It says, the internet, instead of being a few stock market darlings, became how humanity and the economic system operated at an unprecedented scale. But in the end, the internet is just the foundational building block for what is coming. The same is true of blockchain technology. Everyone has massively underpriced the adoption of the security and truth layer of the internet, which today stands at around $2 trillion, but will likely reach $100 trillion in 10 years. And again, the whole crypto market right now is about $2 trillion. As blockchain is built on top of the internet, it accrues extra value and scales much faster because it captures the digital value layer. Economic incentives are a powerful force in creating Metcalfe's law. The internet simply cannot reach its next state without blockchain. It is a prerequisite for the advancement of the internet itself and thus the economy and society, as everything becomes digitized. Truth and digital security are vital and essential for this new system to continue to evolve. Now, this is like massive, you know what I mean? Like we're just going for a little bit of a rip on the most here, and it's pretty long. So if you are wanting to check that out, again, it's Raoul GMI on X, but thought that was very interesting. So Crypto Eddie and Mr. Jeffrey McDonald from Otto Blockchain and Futureverse had a little bit of an interview the other day, and I thought I'd play this quick clip from regarding Ripple. They bring up the Ripple US dollar as well, and Otto Blockchain.
Because of our relationship with Ripple, and because we really want to find many more uses for the ledger, any native Ripple asset will be a priority for us to be able to be onboarded to Otto. With luck, that'll be a great place to bring your XRP, XRPL type tokens to participate in financial products and services on a completely even playing field as any other token.
So, one of the things originally that I was kind of confused about was that like it was presented that Otto would give opportunities to like invest in things in like a like in a DeFi landscape and really open it up, and it felt like he kind of touched on that. With that being said, but I'm very curious, is Otto's kind of just a platform that you're able to burn the plug token, mint catalyst, earn Otto? There's not like a whole lot of action going on with it, so we kind of have like the skeleton of what's going on, but I'm curious when we see kind of more updates and what else we get to see from it.
So technically then what you're saying is that if RLUSD goes live on the ledger, it would be an asset that would have that same portability onto Otto, you're saying?
That's correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or any other token on
any other token.
So they got a couple more clips that are out there, but I got to go through all that kind of jazz. Okay, so we just talked a little bit about Ripple, what's going on with Otto. Again, they're connected with Futureverse from an investment standpoint, and also using XRP as the gas token, integrating into a whole bunch of other things. And Raoul Paul with the AI aspect. And so Rahil, I saw this post that was bringing up ASO the other day, which is one of the AI tokens within the Futureverse ecosystem. And so from the inside looking out, right? We've had some different games that have AI association to it. And if you guys are wanting to try one, it's called FIFA AI League. You can download it on your phone and see what it's like. And truthfully, a lot of people seemingly kind of react to like, I wish there was more to do, but it's AI gaming. And Gods and Grubble, which we played before, where you can get a goblin, you put it into this world, and it's kind of like a war zone, but it's like with various weapons or whatever. And if your character ends up becoming top 10 within that round, you get a little bit of this junk token, which if you have enough junk token, you can create more goblins. And we're kind of waiting to see what all these AI agents, what they can do. But the point being is that you kind of like just click and the game plays for you and it's AI. Now, to reflect back to RuneScape as an example, if you've ever played RuneScape, basically it's a game where you enter the world, and if you want to woodcut to get logs to be able to earn gold to buy armor or anything else in the game, you have to sit there and for hours and hours and hours just kind of click, make sure your computer's up. And that game's had a huge problem with bots that are like scripts or whatever, and they kind of have like a notion of they click the tree and then they deposit the wood in the bank account and it does it for you, but people have been banned over that. And I think a lot of other games have that kind of same connotation as well, where it kind of sucks. Like, I mean, you get the nostalgia hit, but it's also like, all right, I'm not really doing anything for that. This would be phenomenal if we had some sort of AI agent for this. So I've seen a lot of these conversations, and going back to Parallel, the trading card game, they had the Wayfinder game, but it was also Colony, which was supposed to be this like avatar character that was just living in this AI environment. And that was another time that I was like, okay, there's a lot of people that are working towards this, but what does it actually going to come out? Who's going to do what? There's all these different games that are doing things. Is there going to be one that wins out with interoperability? And it feels like with what's going on for Asto and the entire Futureverse ecosystem, it could be that. So they were talking a little bit about Root and Asto. And so these are some of the highlights. If you missed them, again, we've covered a lot of them in different videos, but we recently saw the release of the new trailer for the Third Kingdom. The Third Kingdom is basically, it kind of looks like a staking platform. Some people have called it Clash of Clans, but it's kind of a game where you get to earn root and other resources that are supposed to seed these other worlds. So for RuneScape, for those logs, imagine that if you or wood chopped a log in RuneScape, but that it was also used from RuneScape to several other different games. That seems like the concept so far. We're still waiting to see what that's going to be. It includes the IP of top-notch NFTs like Doodles, Cool Cats, Pudgy Penguins, Dead Fellas, Walker World. There's a whole bunch of different collections where they're trying to bring them in to this Third Kingdom world to allow people to play it. The AI music platform Gen received an early release feature called Reimagine. For now, it will be community tested. So there is, you know, as we highlighted a little bit ago, that one platform that raised like 50 million. Futureverse also raised a whole bunch and working on generative AI tools, and one of those being Gen. So you can go type in a, hey, I want to hear like knocking noises, and then I want to have like a violin, and it's got to be upbeat, but also have some delays in there. You can type in whatever the hell you want. It basically creates a ethically trained music track. And so they're trying to go into that realm as well. And Futureverse has got several different pillars with it. So the Asto ecosystem as a whole and the token also received a fresh face according to a new rebrand. Was interesting, had a couple people's opinion. Most don't really love the ASM vibe of the new one. Thought the other one was kind of more futuristic, but we'll see how the branding looks over time. Again, we're just not there. Hey, forgot the sleeper silo, Trader Pops. True. Facts. They also released a new paper, which again highlights their commitment to improving and building technology. If you go back on the live streams, we went over the entire paper. It was like an hour-long conversation. Ton of people rocking and rolling in the chats, getting opinions from everybody. Very fun to go through if you guys do want to look back to the ASM paper update. ASM also received some AI protocol enhancements. As part of these initiatives, Alter State Machine has also launched 3 different games. And again, the games have been interesting because most people seem like they're not really loving them, but I don't know if that's because of the mechanism for like incentivizing people, right? If you don't get like a dopamine hit from that, if you don't get any kind of reward, if you're not kind of feeling it, again, a lot of these kind of are earlier stages, and we've seen a lot of implementations and updates to them, but again, waiting to see. So this is an old post, and if you guys remember back in June, we highlighted where DCL blogger Mattyverse highlighted how Polygon is majorly undervalued at the 6.5 billion market cap at 70 cents. And I was like, okay, like we're comparing the partnerships of Polygon having Meta, eBay, Starbucks, Reddit, Adobe, Disney, Robinhood, Stripe, and Nike. Those are massive. Don't take anything away from that. But I was like, hey, for Root, there's also a lot of partnerships that are basically a quarter of that, not even, with Alibaba Cloud, 10%, Ready Player One, Authentic Brand Groups, which is Reebok, Muhammad Ali, Ripple itself, and Warner Music, and seemingly like the whole Warner Music brand as a whole, right? And so I was relooking, and Root's down a little bit as well, but the market cap was basically halved. So the 70 cents is now 0.377. So that's why I'm always kind of a little critical when people are like, oh, this is all massively undervalued for stuff that's at several $billion market cap, right? But of course, for Root, again, I think it's like below 50 mil at this point, but it doesn't, you know, drop as insane. We're at about 22.9. But with a lot coming, right? We just had that Otto announcement. A lot of things running through Futureverse. There's the Ripple USD. What happens with that? And everything regarding Ripple, it seems like there's clarity now. So the notion and the steps moving forward are actually happening. Now, again, with Futureverse news, and sorry, we have a whole lot of things that happened over the last little bit. RapidNode, and this, listen, if you want to have a abstract node, right, from like the Pudgy Penguin ecosystem with abstract, you can get it for like $20 a month. This is super strange. It feels so easy. There's a couple of other operating systems and blockchains that they have on there. For abstract, it's only the testnet because I actually looked at it. It's like $19.99 a month to run one, but they're partnering up with Futureverse as well. So making technology and people not having to go through all the steps of learning putty and all this other stuff that I do with the Gallon node. Holy smokes. It was ridiculous. Very very, very cool that this is simplistic. And I went through the processes of just like trying to do it. So I could give you like an example. And so to get started, you type in an email, it will send you a one-time password. Then you can click what node you want to start. Let's say it's the abstract one. It will then say, oh, you've not funded your account, and then you need to fund it with crypto. And I think it's crypto only, but it's in USDT. I think it'll take almost any crypto form and then like transfer it over within their own mechanism or whatnot, and then you kind of just purchase it and go. Now I haven't fully like gone through all of that, but I clicked, so I had like an idea of explaining that. But very, very cool to see that technology is getting easier for running things. Now imagine that you're working at a restaurant, right? You get a tip of $20 and the note says, check out vfriends.com. Thanks. I just think it's kind of funny because like we know what that is, but I'm trying to be like, okay, so vfriends.com. All right, so I'm a waitress looking. We have the VFriends trading card, meet me in the middle, children's book, VCon recap, VFriends 3D stories. I'm trying to think of like what I would look at. I think the site looks really, really clean. But is this how we onboard? We got to leave tips and write what sites we want people to go check out. Hey, go buy this coin. Go check out this site. I think that's kind of hilarious. Okay, so yesterday, degods decided to launch a token from, I guess, burning the NFTs. So the basic tokenomics, the distribution of degod token has been happening organically for the past 3 years without anyone realizing it. Between degods, Utes, and the dust token, there are 41,241 unique holders on 4 different chains. Sheesh! Do we have commitment issues or do we have commitment issues? And of these holders, the top 10 only hold 9.3% of degod. Degod might have one of the most organic token distributions ever. And I mean, not to be critical or anything, but I feel like we just say like, oh yeah, it's organic token distributions. Ours is like the best software we do. I mean, everything is just like, you know, bland. Everybody says the exact same things. So the supply is 10 billion, not an airdrop. You convert your NFTs into degod, and then they're giving some to the foundation launch on that. And then as soon as this announcement comes out, people just go and say, all right, who screwed up the most on this? And I guess somebody paid $260,000 for this degod the other day. Again, the social status, wanting to show off profile. Pick your poison. But I guess if they were going to convert it into the degod token, it would be worth about $1,114. So the questions when people say, oh, these traits are grails on the NFTs, and the same notions of, well, NFTs are just going to become meme coins, right? That was the notion for a very long time, but it's felt like that's kind of stopped. This reignited that discussion. It just kind of feels bad. Now, I mean, if you're spending that much on this, you don't really care about the price. You just want that for whatever reason. But damn, the timeline is absolutely ruthless. Another fresh wallet loaded 46 ETH and swept 11 Azuki in total. I still am just flabbergasted. I totally get there's like the top collections out there, probably going to hold their value a little bit better. There's a lot of different staking, loan, borrowing platforms out there for some of these higher tier NFTs. But man, 46 ETH in almost any ecosystem right now that's not like in the top 5 market cap gets so many assets. It's unreal. But still, we're seeing people out there buying NFTs. And as promised, this is somebody's Bored Ape X Bape purchase. $3,904. They have sunglasses. They bought 2 of them for over $1,000. They got one of the figurines for $300. Some slippers, $119. A polo shirt for almost $400. Typical graphic t-shirt for $119. We got some hoodies in there for $400. Listen, sure, we can call me broke, we can call me a lot of things, but holy smokes, this is wild. And, you know, part of it, I wonder, is it something where they want it? Where, yeah, okay, you're not going to end up buying these, so there's not going to be that much of a supply. They sold out of most of these, which I thought was very interesting. But if there's enough of the demand and there's so few people potentially buying these ones out there, I mean, what happens if all these prices that were like, oh, that $400, you know, the $700 sunglasses are expensive, and then all of a sudden they're selling for $1,500, and you're like, what? why didn't I go out and buy the sunglasses? You know what I mean? It's crazy. Anyway, that's it for this edition of XFeed. Don't forget these spaces tomorrow for the RWA Collectible Spotlight. We'll find that on my X page. Thank you guys so much for coming on through. When Marketing Trader Box pops and the one and only Tap